Hi, Akash.
Hi, Sai. Morning.
Yeah, firstly, thank you very much for giving me opportunity to interview you for my channels.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be on YouTube like this.
So I've gone through your profile. I can see you have worked on multiple domains and multiple places and multiple products and on multiple services. So I thought to tell about you and the work that you are doing to my audience.
Sure.
So before that, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Akash. I'm the CEO, founder of this company called Kloudle. I have almost 20 odd years of experience in the industry. I think 18 of them in security, and the last 10, 12 in cloud security. Right. So this is my third company, and I've been part of communities like Null and Wasp in the past. These are all security communities, and now I'm just building a SaaS product like a lot of other people in the cybersecurity, cloud security domain. That's about me.
So I can see you are into technology from long time.
Yes, absolutely.
So I can see you did multiple jobs. So what is your motivation to do whatever you're doing now?
I think the primary motivation, and I have a good answer now after years and years of thinking about it, is the I like to learn, and it bothers me when I don't understand something well, something that is of interest to me, right? So, for example, uh, finance, I don't understand well, but that doesn't really interest me, right? So, in the technology domain, whether it's programming, whether it's someone's program or some application or how hacking happens, right? All that interested me, and it bothered me that I didn't know enough. So, combine that with that the fact that I like to learn. I don't mind learning and continuously learning. That's my motivation, right? That's my day to day. Like for now, right now, I'm learning how to do sales and marketing for a SaaS product. I've never done that in my life, so it's exciting.
So I can see you started with building the products. Now you are into understanding the business side of the technology and working on the business side of the technology. Why?
I think it's as you grow older, right? The question is about what's the impact you can have, right? So when in 2010, when I was thinking about, I was a freelancer doing consulting around security. I was thinking about ki, hey, you know what? There should be a community for security people. There isn't any, right? In 2010, there's no YouTube or online video was a very nascent thing, right? So how do people learn? There's an emerging thing called cyber security, information security. There's so many things that are going to happen. How will people learn? Everyone is not going to just buy books, and just by buying books, they're not going to learn, right? So you need a community of people to learn together. That's the fastest way, or that's the only way actually, guaranteed to get results. So in 2010, that was the impact I wanted to have. That let's get a bunch of people together and learn. So in a room, right? 30, 40, 50 people. When that grew to like multiple cities, multiple countries across the world, uh, I started realizing that, hey, you can have impact when even you're not around, right? So what do you do? So we're like, yeah, maybe, building a global company makes sense. So that's what I started doing in 2015. The previous company I had a very local idea of just solving in India and all that, right? AppSeco, when I started, was set up in UK. My co-founder was Brit. And we started by saying, let's serve the world. Let's set up the technology in India. And this was a bigger impact because now we had global brands to whom we could reach, and we did, right? We worked with like some of the largest car makers, other FMCG brands, and e-commerce brands. Some are unicorn now, some are even bigger, but again, we were on that journey, and but it was a services company. We were offering consulting and services, right? So when you look at it from business lens, you can grow that, but then you're adding more people. Now, some folks, some senior folks have the skill to be able to add hundreds and thousands of people and get them to be productive, right? It's not for everyone, and that's not my core forte, right? So, how do you have a bigger impact with a small set of people bigger than what my previous company was? The answer is product, right? Now, product can take many shapes and forms. In 2020, when we thought about it, it made sense to build it like a SaaS, right? Because public cloud exists. A lot of developers know how to build for the public cloud. And, the business model is very straightforward. That sell subscription, and people will buy subscription only if they see value. So it's very clear to see that you're offering value, not offering value, what you're trying to sell will resonate or not, right? And it's not me. There are like thousands and thousands of other founders who are playing this. So this was a ready-made community, right? So that's where the shape and form of the business takes up, right? But in the end, the idea is to do impact. The next 10 years are about public cloud. Cybersecurity now is in the mainstream. This year and the last year, the US president's office in the White House has released like these executive papers for the first time ever. And obviously, when the US president talks about cybersecurity, everyone pays attention, right? So it is absolutely mainstream now, right? And once it is mainstream, by the time it reaches the far reaches of the globe and impacts everyone, right? That's the opportunity we're building for. So I guess that's the answer. It's like as you grow older, you want impact.
And I can also see the diversity. You worked in completely different domains, also in different places. So
Yeah.
how you are able to shift your mind that fast?
Uh, See, from outside and the way you look at it, it may seem like too many things, right? But fundamentally, it's the drive to learn and share. So when I started, I actually started as a Java programmer, but quickly switched to doing infrastructure and network for my first job at the government, right? And then realized that was not interesting to me. What I wanted to do was cybersecurity, right? And since I don't know what to do in cybersecurity, I started somewhere, right? So the primary thing is there's a desire to learn, and I'm a very bias for action kind of person. Like I will not like stop and think and mull for 6 months. I'd be like, let's try it out. We'll find out, right? Whether it works or not, or is it my cup of tea or not, right? So that's why there's a lot of stuff that I've done. Like the first time someone said, "Hey, why don't you write a book?" I thought about it for 2 hours, and then I was like, "Why not?" Because I mean, at best I will fail. At worst, there'll be a book out who anyone can review and give feedback on, which is very confronting. But the desire to learn on how to write a book, and even the book that I wrote was on a product for security folks, right? I knew how to use the product a certain way, but now I have to use it in a way to be able to teach the world. So it's a very different lens, right? So again, it's always been that, right? So when you do just technology, I was the tech lead in the previous company. There is a certain type of impact. Now, when I want to build a business, now my job and my responsibility to is to build a set of leadership in the company who are able to understand that hey, we will use technology to solve a business problem, right? In the domain of cloud security, because that's the background. But my job is now to explain the user's problem, right, to the technology leaders, and then explain the user's problems opportunity to the business leaders, right? So it's still the desire to learn, and after all the things I didn't tech, maybe this is what I want to do next, right? Uh, some could have gone deeper in tech, I don't know, but maybe because SaaS is happening in India, it is a great founder community around this, and there's so much excitement around it. Maybe that's what also had an impact, right? But desire to learn and explain things and share, right? These are the three drivers for me always.
And working on product, building on product, understanding the architecture of it, understanding the mechanism of it, working inside the product is different from understanding the product from the client perspective and understanding their requirement and reaching their expectations. So that is both are completely two different jobs. So how you are able to do this and what is making you to do this?
So again, right, if you think about it, it's actually the same thing looked at from a different point of view, right? It's just a different lens. So if you look at it from a point of view of a user, right? Let's say Sai works in the engineering team of a small company and is security aware, but day to day has no time to like go deep into how to secure things for his cloud, right? Let's say that's happening. You still have a job to do, which you come and do day to day. That's what you get paid for, right? And if I can understand your job, and I know that, hey, you know what? If you're in the engineering team, either you're writing code or your job is to make sure the code runs properly when deployed in production, right? When it's on running on the server, right? You're doing one of these jobs. You could be doing both alternatively, right? Then you're doing DevOps. But if I understand this bit, then I know that, hey, if my product is going to help Sai today be better at his job, then how can I make it better? I can't make you a better programmer. But what is it that comes in the way of you becoming a better programmer, if that is what you're doing, right? Or what is it that comes in the way of you doing a great job of setting up the server, right? It could be your capability that you don't know something, right? It could be the clarity of that, hey, if I set it up like this, hackers will hack it, right? Or if I set it up like this is secure against hackers, that clarity, right? It can either be just one of these two things. Beyond this, you're still doing your job, right? Now, if I understand that in your job to do, what's the technology element? And can my product come and connect, be part of your job in a way that I take away some pain of yours, right? So once you have been in doing technology and being in the industry for so long, right, you're able to think in terms of what we call abstractions, right? Step away from the immediate problem that Sai is facing and try and understand that, hey, what's going to go wrong? Let's say Sai is the most talented security focused engineer in the team, but Sai is also human, is a family member, right? Is likely to take breaks, is likely to go off on vacation, right? What happens when that happens? Sai could write down everything about, hey, do this securely, but that's like static, right? When someone else is reading Sai's documentation, are they able to follow the checklist well? Let's say they have followed and now Sai has come back. He still has his other set of responsibilities, but also has to verify was this done properly or not, right? So we felt that engineering teams have this gap, right? And do I know enough about cloud security and then give an interface to the team so that they can fulfill this gap? So, the way our product works is it is able to integrate with Slack. Why? Because most engineering teams in their day-to-day job are likely to be using Slack for collaboration and knowledge sharing anyways, right? So we have smaller things in the product where if you click on a link, there's a link to click, right? And you paste it in Slack. Another teammate, if they click on it, now you both are on the same page, like literally on the same page, right? Because Sai is like, hey, I don't understand how to fix this. And you're asking your TL. And this is not like, let me share my screen, let me send you a screenshot, right? Here is a link, open it in your computer and both of you are on the same page, right? Now, this comes from understanding the user, right? After talking to many engineers who are like, we are interested in doing security, but we have no time. We are interested in doing security, but we don't know what we don't know about security, right? Then going back to, hey, what do we know about security? What do we know about cloud security? And then what can we do to take away their pain, the worry that, hey, am I doing this right? Okay. So this is how you bring the two together. Now the audience is different. The questions that I have to ask Sai are different. And the information I have to share with the engineering and the product team is different, right? If you look at it, it's a different lens. So my upskill has been that I've had to learn how to communicate with different types of stakeholders, right? So for my engineering and product teams, I had to learn how to visually explain things, right? So tools like Miro helped. I use Whimsical, Miro, and recently Canva, right? And learn how to like visually represent complex to explain topics. For understanding and talking to engineers, I actually read this book called The Mom Test. Okay, It's a very sweet, small book. All it talks about is how should you ask questions? Because usually when we ask questions, they are very, very closed ended. The answers can be binary or, just one of the few options. But if you are able to ask questions which are open ended and you train yourself to really understand what is being said, right? So some people call it problem before the problem. So I will explain that this is my problem, but there's a problem before that, right? Like Sai needs a break. He can't burn out. But what happens when the shift change happens? What happens when the senior security engineer is on break, right? If I can understand that, then the product can provide for it, right? So my learning has been how to visually represent complex ideas and also ask very open-ended questions to the users, potential users, and understand that, hey, this would be useful for them. And then you put it out there, right? And then you see if people are actually using it or not, right? There's a bit of experimentation, bit of art here, and a bit of science.
And security is a very important part in application. So why you wanted to come into security, and is there any particular reason that made you to come into this?
Absolutely, right? I said bias per action. I used to work for an American security products company. And in Jan or June or Jan or Feb of 2008, my bosses told me that, hey, looks like there's a recession coming and maybe this team will not be there anymore, right? So they were giving me enough time to kind of figure out what my next thing should be. I was 26 or 27 at that point, and I was like, okay, what do I do? What do I want to do next? I've already done a job for 3 years. Do I want to go find another job? There were opportunities, or I used to hang out with a bunch of these people who would talk about entrepreneurship in Bangalore, right? It was big even then. All the mobile platforms had picked off, not Android and iOS, but they were the ones before that, Symbian and others, Java-based platforms. So people were thinking that you can build mobile apps and this and that. So it was a very exciting time then, right? And cloud had just started. It was just called Amazon S3 at that point, right? There was nothing else. So people like you and me were saying that, hey, I can build a business just by myself. Why? Because if I need to distribute the app or whatever I build, my knowledge, I can use the mobile platform. And if I want to set up the server side, I can go do this on this thing called cloud, right? Nobody was calling it public cloud then. So it seemed like a good time to explore that, can I offer security here? And then someone gave me a stat that there are more than 800 plus application companies based in Bangalore, right? And then it was a no-brainer, even though I was a specialist in network security, right? The people who work at the network layer with packets. When I heard this stat, and I figured that, yeah, how difficult it is to learn security of another layer, which is application. And if there are 800 companies, even if like 15, 20 of them become a customer, I should be sorted, right? Simple needs in life. That was my push to pick up application security.
And tell me, you as leader and also solving business problems.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Uh, Tell me, you as leader, you
Hmm.
as a leader, and also as a problem solver of a business.
So I'm a technologist at heart, right? So my fundamental belief is the kind of company that I aspire or take inspiration from is like WhatsApp. A team of 30 odd made $1 billion company, right? Instagram, which is again some 20, 30 people, right? So I know that there are many, many business functions, especially sales, marketing, distribution of product, customer success. They can be very well done with a small team, right? So even when we are saying that I don't take care of the product, as in like I don't write the code myself. I wrote the initial version and now I don't because we have a lead for that. Uh, when I'm solving marketing, when I'm solving sales, when I'm trying to figure out how do I take my business to the next level, The heart of the solution is technology, right? So the recently we upgraded our website. We have moved from a hosted tool called Webflow to something which is now it's like a static site generated using a new framework that I coded, right? And that's because there is like we have a lot of data and bunch of things we could do around it, which Webflow, which is amazing for business websites, is very rigid for what we are trying to do, right? So what I'm trying to say is that let's say when a customer joins Cloudle, bunch of triggers happen that hey they have joined, send a mail and bunch of that, right? Uh, I wrote some code which I get a trigger on a command line tool that I use to track that, hey, what's their usage? How are they using it? What are they doing with it? Right? A business non-technology founder would have asked their engineering to build them a dashboard for this, right? Which is perfectly a great way to go. It's just that since we are a small team, anytime I take away from engineering to solve business dashboard problem statement, they're not building for the customer, right? So that's the advantage I have being from a technology background. The disadvantage is that I don't understand a lot of finance things, right? So most of the mentors I have, I ask them, hey, can you help me understand what this financial thing means? Or this report looks interesting. How does it impact Cloudl from a long-term strategy point of view, right? So as a founder, you realize what you're good at and what you're not, and whatever you're not good at is what you try to fill with either full-time people or mentors or consultants, right? So the heart of Cloudl is very technology driven. So it's not for everyone. Someone who comes from a non-technology background, maybe they are great at marketing, but they are not able to use Slack, right? Would not fit in, right? They will be good at their job, but they will not really be able to fit into being part of the team, right? If they don't understand how do you send out a bulk email, right? But also make sure that you send it in the proper way and not spam people. So in the business world, this is called marketing operations, right? There's a similar term in sales called sales operations. So at Cloudl, if anyone has to succeed, they need to be well versed in this, right? Or they have to get better at it. So as a leader, that's where the culture comes through, right? Technology being the heart of it, and we believe in we follow this Japanese principle of Genchi Genbutsu, which translates to show the real place, right? Which means that if Cloudl says do it in a certain way, it doesn't matter whether it's specific to the product or we're just talking about talking to people about how to do hiring. We will not write about something which we haven't done, right? So that becomes a guiding principle for the team to understand that hey, if I want to write about how we hire people, I better have done that in Cloudl to be able to write about it, right? Because in technology, too many things can happen. And another one that we have is of incremental improvement, where we are like, today we have to be just a bit better than yesterday, right? What we can't do is be like, yeah, now we are there. So if yesterday we did everything manually, today we have to automate some part of it, right? Over time, what will happen is one piece of that puzzle will be completely automated. And when you automate away things, you have free time. And if you're constantly worried, thinking about value to your customer, you build more in that free time, right? And Cloudl basically promises the same to its users that if I save you 2 months of your time in a year on tasks which otherwise would take away that time, what will you do with that? How will you add value to your team, right? So again, coming back to you want to go to the real place, you want to take our users to the real place, and this comes from this technology background. If I was a non-tech person, a sales-oriented founder, everything would be around sales, right? If I had a branding background, I would be like, yeah, let's do branding and marketing well. So I think the company takes up some of the culture of where the founders come from.
And you're watching and you're listening and you're observing different kind of business problems. And what kind of, do you have any particular or specific problems that you want to solve?
So, see, fundamentally, the problem a small company has is absolutely universal across everywhere. How do we reach the kind of user we want, the kind of customer we want, right? I will reach in my LinkedIn, and there'll be a percentage of people who resonate with my message, right? Because they are not in the same place as me, right? I could have my best friend, he could be the heading security of a large unicorn, but my product will not resonate with him or her, right? So the universal problem that we deal with day in and day out, right, is twofold. One is how do we how do we make our message so clear that anyone who's not fit for our company today to become a customer, right? It will not solve your problem. They know very well, without wasting time, that hey, Cloudle is not for me, because that's a very important message. At the same time, a certain minority of people will know that hey, this is what Cloudle solves, and this is exactly my problem, right? This is the stage we are in, and the one is how do you get this message right, which comes with experimentation. But for experimentation, you need data, right? Now, this is where the second problem comes. How do I make sure enough of such people who I believe are within my, what we call the ideal customer persona, they have seen the message and rejected it or accepted it, right? So how do I spread the message? And all founders of this stage are dealing with this problem, right? How we solve it is like, I will obviously try and figure out an API for LinkedIn or something else that, hey, can I spread my message far and wide and be very clear? And then when people come in, they will know what they're coming in for, right? If I was a marketing, branding led person, I would be like, I need cash so that I can go set up booths across security conferences, leading conferences across the world to tell the world that I'm here. Come try me out, right? If I was a sales driven founder, I would be like, forget hiring engineers. Let me hire an army of salespeople who will just go knock on doors or keep asking people that, hey, here is Cloudle, do you want to try it? Here is Cloudle, do you want to try it? Right? So we are trying to solve it by expanding the scope of the online searches, right? So like we already have like 10,000 organic visits from Google, right? We don't pay for any search, but that traffic comes to us. We want to expand that to like tenfold. Like what will it look like if 100,000 people are visiting cloudle.com and a percentage of them resonate to the message, right? So we're trying to solve that, right? And at the same time, see that is there a marketing or a sales thing that we're missing, which is low hanging fruit. So for me, that's the biggest problem. How do I get the word out? I'm hoping that your channel will, reach to your viewers, and there are some who are listening who are looking for a cloud security product for small engineering teams that saves them time. So maybe this will work. But that's the only problem I'm solving, right? And the other metric I keep track of is the actual users of the product, the people who have paid the subscription. Are they using the product? Right? And if we release a new feature, do they know about it? Have they tried it out? Right? So my entire universe about what I do for the company is this: get the word out and make sure the existing customers know about what we are building and they're saving time. Because at some point they will become our amplifiers.
Right now, you are into India and also in US. You're solving problems for other countries as well.
So our product is fairly what is known as horizontal. It's agnostic in that sense that people who use public cloud are using the same set of API, right? As long as they are consuming cloud knowledge in English, right? Our product is appropriate for them. So it's not just US or India, but anyone who's building in the public cloud in AWS, GitHub, Kubernetes, Google Cloud, right? And they are learning how to build and do things in the public cloud using the English language documentation. Cloudle is aimed at that, right? Because we only support English at this point in our mitigations and stuff.
So, when you are listening to your customers, or you already worked as a leader before also. So,
Yeah.
what you understood about the user experience and listening to them, understanding their requirements, and how you are implementing those qualities or knowledge in the present problem that you're solving.
Great question. There are 2 points here. One is the number one thing people want to do is not think about security, engineering teams, right? Because that's not what they're benchmarked for. They are like their KPI is business release, like software release, business requirements, and meeting them, right? Making their business successful. This is one of the things they have to take care of, right? It's kind of like performance. Nobody will say that make sure you write high performance code, but that is expected, right? So now the expectation is that it will be secure, because if it's not, things will go down, business will suffer. So they don't want to think about it, which means that they want the product to do all the heavy lifting, right? So that's what Cloudle does. It tells you what's running in your cloud account and what's wrong and how to fix it. And in how to fix it, we also give you the option to say that, hey, this is how I use cloud. So this is not a problem for me. This is not a risk, right? So you can manage that risk. When you do these 1, 2, 3, you have given back time to them, right? That's perfect. Now, the second thing most engineers don't want to do is come to the dashboard. They don't want to log into Cloudle every day, right? They want to like come in, set it up, and then be like, hey, I want the data where I work, right? Typically, where do they work? Email, Slack, or Jira, right? These are the 3 really popular ones for the kind of engineering teams we have dealt with, right? We haven't met anyone who says that I like MS Teams, or anyone else who said that, you know what, I don't use Jira, I use ServiceNow, right? So, one is we save them time. Second is we get them the data where they want it. They just integrate it themselves. The interface for these two, right? It was very clear that engineers said, hey, I don't want to spend time talking to a human, right? Because then I have to schedule some time. Both of us will have to have the same time free, and then do a call, and then I don't know what will happen in the call. It's just too much headache and overhead. Can you just give me the ability to self-register and self-serve myself? And if I get stuck, I will reach out, right? So the product is built in a way that you can just register, you can onboard, you can invite your teammates, you can integrate Jira and Slack yourself. Email is by default there anyways, and you can choose what notifications you want, which the ones that you don't want, right? Without ever talking to a human. So they love it. And once the product starts showing them data where they are, right? And the only time they come to the product is when they want to know how to fix stuff, right? They are using it the way it's meant to be used. But we realized that there was an opportunity for us when we are showing them how to fix things. One is that we show them the exact practical steps on how to fix something. But then the user feedback was like, hey, you need to tell me a little more about what the consequences are, or what else can go wrong if I fix it. What will stop working, right? I want to understand those limitations. And some of the team leads, like the head of engineering, head of DevOps folks told us that is there a way that when my team is fixing things, there are some references or videos, right? Because they're fixing it, they're in that mode, they may want to learn a little more about the topic, right? So we figured that the product has to do 3 things: save time by automating and self-serve, by taking the data wherever the engineers work, and rather than saying come and use the web app, come and use the web app. And the third is while they are using the product to improve their own infrastructure, it should teach them new things, right? And if we can do this 1, 2, 3 well, repeatedly, then these customers and users will keep loving the product and keep using the product, right? And we'll be able to expand.
You yourself by an engineer, you know how it is working, and you know how to fix things.
Yeah.
And now you are business owner. Uh, uh, you are trying to understand the business problems now. So how you look at this, understanding the application development, and understanding the clients and their problems, and
So
what kind of problems that that they face that you want to solve? Because you are already an engineer, you might have seen different kind of problems and you solved it.
Got it. So first of all, I'm not an engineer, by education. I just have a BSc. It's just I'm interested in computers. See, people want to solve problems at three levels, right? Functionally, they do their job and they're facing something that to do their job better, they need to do something, right? If that is taken care of, it's like email. Nobody really, says anymore that, hey, I can use email, right? You just expect everyone to. When you can do that, then the next level is key, am I doing it better than others? Now, some people don't resonate with that, but a lot of people do. So in email, you can have a badge of honor by saying that I follow something called inbox zero, right? Where there is no unread email. I deal with all the emails quickly and whatever. I'm like top of my email game, right? Because we get so many emails. Being able to show off that is like a social thing, right? Amongst your peers. Like if you are a founder and you're like, I follow inbox zero and other founders don't, then maybe, you are like showing that off. But in the end, most people use work, do things simply because of emotional triggers. Even though they may say that, no, I'm very rational and logical, right? If you go to the problem beyond the problem, eventually, you get to a point where you realize that there is an emotional reason why they do this job in the first place, right? And what are these emotions? When you come to do a job, right, you don't want to feel inadequate. You want to feel in control, right? If you feel that you've done a great job and then you get recognized, you're back to that social aspect, right? But just any product, if it just gets the job done, you don't think about it. It's replaceable, right? It's like a toothbrush. Unless you have an electric toothbrush which makes your teeth shine, right? Without really a lot of effort, right? Now, the whole point of what we are trying to do and all businesses in the end, right? The question to deal with is, I have four types of people I want to make happy to continue doing business. The number one is user. Are they emotionally satisfied or in love with the product, right? A lot of times in high technology, user is not the buyer, right? Buyer is different. So then buyer's needs are different. The buyer is like, I feel happy and I don't feel like, I was cheated by the product. Why? Because my team seems happy. Their emotional, functional, social needs are met. So I think the product works. I'm buying it again. Right? In between, there are other types of people also, sometimes influencers, right? Who are passionate about the problem, right? The problem could be cloud security, it could be making YouTube videos, it could be anything, right? They're passionate about it. So they're constantly trying to see how to solve the problem, how to solve the problem. And they also know that different people will resonate with different solutions. It's not just one solution for everyone, right? So they may come across your solution, like they may come across a cloud security evangelist or even influencer might come across Cloudle and be like, yeah, this solves that specific problem that other products don't, right? Or it solves it for a niche type of audience, right? So this is great. At the same time, there are people who are detractors, whose emotion is saying ki, I don't want change. Or if I change or if I start using this new product, what can go wrong? Okay. So they all have a part to play. And as a founder, as a business owner, my job is to understand this buyer journey or this buyer ecosystem, that where a user being happy will trigger the buyer being happy, right? Because their job is getting done and the product is not making them feel inadequate and ignorant, right? It's like not coming in their way. It's not pissing them off. So, and then can I get enough influencers to understand that this is the specific problem I'm trying to solve, which is a messaging thing, and also help the detractors understand कि, hey, there is no risk because we are just solving it better, or whatever else was solved earlier will still get solved, right? So within this is what I try and do. Right now, it may seem very, very complicated or convoluted, right? It's just that because I'm living in abstraction, right? I'm talking about emotional reasons why people use things. It's easier for me to understand, and that's simply because I've taken on the responsibility of that there is a product that I have in the market which people will love. Now, if they don't love a certain feature, we improve it. If they say that this feature makes no difference to my life at all, they're indifferent, we remove it, right? If a feature they like, but they're like, hey, can you do this so that I don't waste more time, or it's not coming in the way, right? So then they start loving that feature, right? So our fundamental thing is listening to the customer's voice, understanding what the landscape of the world is, right? Public cloud is a growing industry. Bringing our idea of technology and what we know and say, hey, this will solve your problem, right? So when you are only in the problem domain, you're not married to your solution. I'm not like saying, no, Cloudle is best. I don't care what the problem is, right? As long as you are like, acha, this is what your problem is. I think Cloudle fits here. Oh, this is your problem. Cloudle doesn't fit at all, right? So that is what I do day in and day out.
And you are into technology from long time. You saw the evolution of the technology. I'm sure you understood clearly about how technology is solving human problems. So what you understood?
See, I think everyone's lives are better compared to when we did not have networked computers, right? Networking, internets, that's what you call today, right? The web, which is one of the things in the internet, have made us, it's very easy to access information, right? Like anything in the world, people will use it, misuse it, abuse it, right? There are all kinds of people. But by and large, more people are having a better life, a quality of life today because we are connected, right? Are there challenges with technology? Has it been misused? Absolutely, right? Social media for influence, propaganda, for spreading, fake information. All of that exists. It used to exist in different forms earlier, right? Because in the end, people are people, but technology has made our lives better. But like with anything else, anything that comes in our life, right? If done in excess, without moderation and balance, can be problematic, right? You could have the most healthiest food, but if you have too much of it, can cause you problems, right? So it's like that. But from where I was, right, when I was in college, there were no cell phones, right? Which meant that if you're meeting your friends, at best you have already decided when and where, because you don't have access to a phone, or you have decided that over landline. So if the plan has changed, you have some idea of what needs to do if plan A doesn't work, what to do with plan B, right? Or you just end up waiting for friends. Now that is not a problem at all, right? Now people can say that, no, I didn't see the phone, my phone was not in charge, because the plans will still change. People are people, right? But generally, I think the world is better off with technology in all aspects of human life, and it will just become better and better, right? And people will realize that there are some things we used to do in the previous century. There is no reason to continue doing them, right? And whenever people worry about that, oh, humans will be out of jobs because ML, AI will take over or robots will take over, they are reacting from a very short-term irrational fear. Because in the longer term, everything takes time for adoption anyways. But generally, it's for the benefit of the people, right? Generally, people are nice and they want to collaborate. And when we did not have video calls, families staying apart was difficult. But when you have video calls, it is still difficult to stay apart. But it is definitely made easier by being able to see your loved ones in full definition, HD, and being able to talk to them in real time, right? So whether you talk to a family member or a health professional, or things like that. So the quality improves, the training improves, collaboration improves, sharing of the knowledge of the world improves, supporting each other improves. So I'm very, very happy that the technology is evolving the way it is. And I think we haven't even begun to see the transformational aspects of public cloud, right? The 10, 15 years that we are going to are going to be crazy, right? 15 years later, you yourself will be like, yeah, the world looked very different 15 years ago.
And what is exciting you? What is making you solve the problems, waking up every morning and starting your work?
So there is a, I think a quote by one of the CEOs of AWS who mentioned that AWS has only 5% market share of the entire IT industry, right? And because I've been using cloud and I know that's how small companies are able to compete against the largest companies, right? Who could afford to have thousands of data centers with servers and all because of public cloud. Now they're saying that this 5% is going to increase, which means that we are at 260 billion annual revenue of all the big cloud providers today in 2022. That's likely to be 1.2 trillion in the next 7 to 10 years, right? That's like 5.5 times. So if at this point there is amazing, benefit, like the entire 5G telco infrastructure, the back end runs on cloud, public cloud, right? Nobody's setting up data centers now. They're using public cloud, which means that more and more people will have opportunity to build applications and products which look like, a large enterprise team has built, right? Which may look like that increases competition, but fundamentally it's like rising tide. It'll, raise the level of all boats, right? So that's what excites me, that there are going to be at least 2.5, 3 million new developers who have not even started coding today in the next 7 to 10 years, whose only idea of building code or writing code is they're just writing code for virtualized hardware on public cloud. They don't think in terms of that I need to have a laptop or a server or something. And when you take away that physical requirement, you take away the network bandwidth issues, right? 5G will take care of that. Suddenly you have like a, self-fulfilling prophecy. 5G is enabled because of public cloud, but because 5G will get more of these 3 million developers online who can be anywhere. So now the concept of working from one office and all that will go away. It'll melt away, right? Some companies will obviously hold out, but students, right? The way you people study and who teaches you, anyways is happening, right? You can go access the notes and the lectures of professors all over, right? Maybe you're looking at recorded stuff now, but over time, because the bandwidth is such and it is almost free, right? It's a utility. Maybe it will be real time. We don't even know what will change, but what I know is this is fundamental infrastructure and it's very exciting. It's like when, roads and railroads get built. You create that infrastructure and people figure out what to do with it, right? It's like when Jio launched cheap data plans in India, right? It kind of unlocked a whole humanity of enterprise, right? The same thing with the payment infrastructure, UPI, right? A lot of people were like, okay, now I can just by offering a QR code, I can, offer payments which are not cash. Because imagine what it does is, if there was a lot of theft of cash in an area, right? There were a lot of thugs in one area, and there were a lot of street vendors. That would need more policing. But now, if everyone is getting paid through their QR code, the theft will not happen there, right? I mean, cyber theft can still happen, but I guess in a way that's a little less risky to life and limb than actual thieves stealing your cash, right? But what I'm saying is we don't even know what will happen, and this is very exciting, right? Because I could be cynical and jaded after 20 years of being in the industry, but I believe that this is just starting out, and for the first time in my life, I'm at a place where I have opinion on what cloud security should be, how it should be done, and there'll be 3 million people who have not known any other way of security, any other way of infrastructure. They will get to learn about my opinion. So as I said, impact, right? So that's what I would like to learn and be able to contribute to.
And how you are impacting now?
So, as I said, right, we write a lot of content for technical users. We have more than 10,000 people coming to us through Google searches, right, who are looking for technical content in cloud security, right, engineers coming to that. And when we see the kind of people who turn up, right, we have this service from Clearbit, which tells us who has visited your website. We see some of the largest enterprises, Fortune 100, Fortune 10 companies, banks, infrastructure companies, many users of cloud, AWS, Google Cloud, right? From their corporate headquarters logging in to see what we are talking about security, right? So right now we have no way to measure, right? We're still very small. But my belief is that we are be able to teach way beyond the number of people who are our customers, right? And our fundamental belief is that every company using public cloud should be secure. Whether they become Cloudle customers or not is immaterial, right? So for us, that's impact. More than 10,000 people month on month are learning about specific topic of cloud security because we are writing that content and it's out there. There's no like, you don't have to put an email to watch it or see it or pay money or something, right? And this is original content we are writing as a team. So, and this comes from what we know engineers want. So it's useful, it's consumable. There are videos, there's like, a lot of text there with screenshots. So for us, this impact will be visible in 2 years, right? If you ask me this question in 2 years, maybe I'll be able to give you a better answer, but that's the approach we have taken right now. Okay, I have a hard stop at 9. So can we, do you have more questions now?
Yeah, I have last question that sums
Sure.
up everything. So, how your service solves any technology, any business technology problem anywhere on this planet?
So we are, because we are very bullish about public cloud, right? We know that small companies with small engineering teams will be able to punch way above their weight by going against larger funded competition by offering services. Our product is meant for those teams, small engineering teams with big global ambition, right? They need security. They don't have time for it today, right? They think that they will come to it at some point, but the world has changed to a point where you need it now. So our product tells you what's running in your cloud account, what's wrong with it, and how to fix it. And also gives you automation pieces to make sure it never happens again, right? And what does it translate to for a business owner? We save around 185 man hours per year per engineer, right? That's more than one man month. So imagine if you're paying for an engineer's 12 months salary, but you're getting 13 months out of them because this bit, which is important, has to be taken care of, is already taken care of. And we're not even calculating what happens, the time lost and the effort lost, if they get hacked, right? So we are building for those teams, and it's as simple as getting a 7-day free trial on, by coming to our website. It's as simple as that, right? Risk-free, no payment required trial. And within 7 days, so many teams see value. They see so many issues that they were unaware of. They forgot that they were running servers. They forgot that they had to remove some users. So that is like a super value add, right? And at this stage, this is what we're solving.
Uh, I'll put your web links in the description of this video. People who
Sure.
find the video on YouTube can see it and can see the service that you're providing and can see the problems that you're solving. And at last, as a CEO, as a founder, as a business owner, as a person who worked on building products, what is your observation about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
No, I have. I think it's a great, contribution to the space where you're talking to a bunch of us, highlighting what we do. And I think it can add like an inspiration to others. It can teach them, and it's a great thing that you're doing. I've only seen a few videos, I'll be honest, not many, but this is super useful, right? And talking to you is also super useful. But now I really have to go. I have like a customer thing. So thank you so much for having me, Sai. Anything else you want to add here?
Yeah, one last question, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
because it means a lot to me.
Sure.
I did masters in software engineering, also bachelors in computer science and engineering. Right now, I'm getting trained as a DevOps engineer. So, talking with experts like you who are already solving problems, who solve problems, who are understanding the technology business around the world, talking with experts like you, what I'm going to learn and how I'm going to use this knowledge if I work in IT in coming days.
So I'll tell you, learning is great, but it's only useful if there's a purpose attached to it, right? So whichever area you feel is would benefit from DevOps, you need to start contributing it to it now, right? And then the answer to the question will come to yourself, right? Definitely automation helps because it unlocks human time, right? But the area which will resonate with you is something that you will be able to answer. But DevOps, cloud, automation, they're all leading to the same goal of unlocking human time and value, right? So it's a great place to be, right? But I'm really out of time. I have to jump out of this. Okay. So all the best to you, Sai, and look forward to having the video on your channel.
And can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission and also
Absolutely.
everywhere on the internet?
Please go ahead. You have my permission.
Thank you, Akash again for
Yeah.
your time.
Bye, Sai. Take care. Have a nice
Bye.
day. Bye.
Bye.